Hello everyone, my name is Elena Shvab and I'm a hair designer based in London. Welcome to my studio. Today I would like to show you a very useful technique on how to create a perfect rolling edge technique, and I'm happy to share some of the tips that I'm using myself when I make hats and use this when I'm using this technique for creating hats for my clients. So I'm going to show you an example of a hat with rolling edge technique that I have in stock at the moment. And this is one of my favorite designs. Absolutely love this hat as it looks very flattering. And it's very simple but very elegant design. It features only the hat base and decorations made with rolling edge. So it's a very simple technique, but it creates so much beauty and creates a dynamic to your hats and fascinators. So learning this technique will really help you to create beautiful and stunning designs. So let's start, and I'm just going to introduce basic materials that we will need. So I have a Sinamay straw, so I'm going to be using purple as that's the color of the hat that I am using to make a hat for my client. This is going to be a hat for Mother of the Bride and will be shipped to France in a couple of days. So I really need to finish it today or maximum tomorrow so I can ship it by the end of the week. But in the meantime, while I'm making it, I thought, well, why not share the useful tips and tricks of how to create a perfect rolling edge, because this hat is featuring only rolling edge on the top of the pillbox hat. So this one is already blocked and stiffened, and I'm just waiting for it to dry. And in the meantime, I'm working on creating rolling edge decorations. So I have quite a few finished, just 3. And the rest are in the process. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to make the the rolling edge from scratch. Okay, so let me just, and the materials that we will need, well, obviously Sinamay straw, we're going to need tap water. Ideally, if you have a soft water spray, that will help a lot, because we're going to need just a little bit of water, not a lot. Well, that's the spray bottle that I use while making rolling edge. We're going to need nail polish remover. That's one of the tricks that's very useful. Color matching thread, and using Yoo-hoo glue. Those are left over from a workshop that I was providing yesterday for 17 participants. And during the workshop, I give individual little Yoo-hoo glue tubes. So those are that I have from the workshop. So quite useful to have a small tubes, because it helps to create very neat usage of it. And we're gonna need scissors, small scissors for the thread. And where are my bigger scissors? Okay, I'm just gonna grab the scissors just right behind my camera, and scissors for the straw. So the trick with cutting your decorations for bias, for creating rolling edge technique, is that it has to be cut on the bias. And sometimes it's quite tricky to find the bias. So how do we find the bias? So first of all, let me cut this straight. So as we look at the straw, as any woven fabric, it has stretchy, non-stretchy sides. So where the yarns crisscross themselves like that, it means that this side is non-stretchy. So it doesn't matter how much you're going to stretch the material, it's not going to stretch. But on the diagonal, it's called the bias, and it's the stretchiest side of any fabric, straw, including Sinamay straw. Or another way to find your bias strip is to fold the Sinamay straw like that. So we have 90 degrees to selvage, or 45 degrees on the on this angle. So this side is the bias strip. You can also stretch a little bit and see that if this side is stretchy, it means that you found the bias. Now I have a template for the leaf decoration, because my hat will be decorated with this type of leaves. So they look like that. And these details are also cut on the bias. So I have prepared a template for myself, and I have folded it in half in the middle. So this is sort of like will help you to check whether your template is located on the bias side of the fabric. So what I do, I place the template on the stretchy side on the diagonal, and then I can fold my template to see and to check that I actually exactly on the bias strip. So you can see the lines are at 45 degrees towards your template. And then you can trace it with a chalk and cut. I just gonna cut it as it is because I know my template. You can always trim where if needed. You can create your template any size that you prefer. It can be as this size, it can be bigger, it can be small. It's absolutely up to you. This is already personal choice of designing. So now we have this beautiful decoration piece, just trimming because I need straight, perfect edges for the rolling edge. So here it is. So this is a bias strip side, so I can stretch a little bit, as you can see, and it does move. And now the next important tool is tap water, and it has to be very fine spray bottle. So this is actually, this one I purchased at travel supply. I don't know what it's called, travel supply for shampoos, for conditioners. It's perfect. And I'm going to apply just a little bit of water on the edges, only the edges. And this is where we're going to do our rolling edge. This is where we're going to start rolling, just from this edge. So to begin with, you can start on the side. I prefer to start in the middle. It's just easier for me personally, but you do as it works better for you. So what I do first, I stretch a little bit, okay? So it becomes much easier to work with. I place the straw on my thumbs like that. And then, and only for the first time and the only time, I will be folding the straw. And after that, you sort of place your straw in between your thumb and index finger and roll. You really want to stretch and roll. And in order to create a perfect rolling edge, I'm just going to add a little bit more water. It has to be damp, not wet, and not dry, because if it's too dry, you're going to hear the cracking. It means that the straw is breaking. If it's too wet, the rolling edge will not stay in place. It's going to start unrolling. So you have to find this perfect condition of the straw, not being too wet and not being too dry. It comes with experience. Just give it a go, and I'm sure you will find out the perfect combination of how much water you should apply. So what I'm going to do, oh, and another important thing that I forgot to mention is that any straw that you are using for rolling edge has to be pre-stiffened. So when you purchase your materials, check that the straw is stiff, pre-stiffened. Any supplier calls it differently, but the point is that the material has to be pre-stiffened. And usually when the straw is pre-stiffened, you can feel that it's quite stiff. If the Sinamay straw is too soft, it means that it's not pre-stiffened, and you have to stiffen it yourself, because it really helps to create really perfect result. And I continue rolling. I keep the rolling edge in between my fingers, and I do not let go of the straw until I finished with the roll. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to roll too way down. It just to cover the edge, to create a really nice, perfect edge. And then I stretch the straw and I continue rolling down. I stretch and I roll. I stretch and I roll. I stretch and I roll. So basically that's what we are aiming for. And then we can stretch the whole piece, because it doesn't matter how perfectly you do it, it's still sort of like wavy. So when you stretch, it creates a really nice straight line. So now I'm going to continue on the other side. I'm going to apply a little bit of water, not too much. And following this roll, I will stretch and roll, stretch and roll. And you really have to feel your muscles right here, because it means that if you feel your muscles here, it means that you're doing really great job. If you don't feel your muscles, you have to press a little bit more in order to create really nice, fine edge. So you stretch and you roll, you stretch and you roll. It's a lot of fun, especially when you have to create 15, 16, 20 decorations with the rolling edge. It really makes it rough on your fingers, that's true, but the decorations look really stunning, so worth it, I guess. So now we have a really nice and perfect edge, and I'm going to do the same with the other side. Okay, so first I'm going to stretch to avoid any wavy effect from the rolling, and I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to stretch this side. So again, I start in the middle, I stretch a little bit, and then I fold. Okay, and this is the only fold, and stretch and roll, roll and stretch and roll. And you see, I don't let go of the straw. It's always in between my fingers like that. It could be tricky at the beginning, but with time and experience, you just have to understand the sort of like the logic behind it, the concept of not letting off the straw and keeping it very tight while you roll it, in order to create nice and tight rolling edge. And then I'm gonna continue the other side. If it's too dry, I'm gonna apply a little bit more water and roll and roll. See, like that. And stretch. When you stretch, it really helps. And then the decoration for rolling edge doesn't have necessarily be in the shape of a leaf. It's just my personal choice of a decoration, because that's part of my design. But you can cut stripes of Sinamay straw on the bias as wide as you wish, 5 centimeters or 10 centimeters or 20 centimeter wide. But as long as it's on the bias, that's where you can use the edge for creating a rolling edge. There. See, and so now it's a bit uneven and curvy. But all I do is just stretch it on the bias and done. Nice and cute, pretty. So we roll the edges on both sides. It looks gorgeous. I'm happy with the results. But now what we have to do is to make sure that the rolling edge actually stays in place. So for now, the Sinamay straw pre-stiffened, so it has its stiffener in this, which actually acts like a glue, but it's still not enough in order to constantly keep the rolling edge in place. And with time, for example, if there's a rain or humidity, sometimes straw might start unrolling and starts moving. It happens. So it means that we have to keep this rolling edge in place. And how we do it? So my little trick is using glue. And yes, it is messy and it's definitely not very bespoke, but it really helps and does the trick. And we have to do it very carefully, neatly. And this is why another trick is nail polish remover. You know, the basic one, the cheapest one, whatever you can find will work well. It will help to melt the glue, just in case if it will be visible on the surface, and it will be visible on the surface because glue is quite messy and it sticks to everyone, especially your fingers. It's unavoidable, but the purpose is to work as neatly as possible from the very beginning, so you don't create a lot of mess and you don't have to use a lot of nail polish remover and waste your time on polishing your decorations. So I have this, this is 7-gram little tubes of Yoo-hoo glue. I find it's the best, works for me, love it. You don't have to use Yoo-hoo glue. You can use any other fabric glue that you have at home, or any other glue that you like to work with. It's really not critical what glue you're using, as long as it dries fast, it dries clear, it doesn't smell, and you're happy with it. So what I do, I slightly unroll the rolling edge, and I place teeny tiny of glue, see, like really a little bit, on the very edge of the unrolled piece. Just hope you can see. Just really a little bit. And now, this is where the messiness starts. I'm rolling it back a little bit. Roll it back. So the purpose is the glue stays inside, but it keeps the edge rolled and fixes in this position when the glue dries. You also have to work really fast because the glue dries quite fast. This is one of the reasons I love it. So there. Now it's quite permanently attached, and no matter what I do, the rolling edge stays in place. And like this part, it doesn't roll. And in the weather when it's a lot of humidity, the Sinamay straw might start moving, unrolling, but this will stay in place no matter what. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm leaving the edges as they are for now, and I'm going to show you shortly how to what to do with them. So again, a little bit of glue, and because this tube is so small and it creates a really neat, just leaves a little bit of glue on the edge. This is why I like to work with small tubes rather than big tubes. But again, very personal choice. And now I'm rolling it back and securing. Just rolling while the glue dries. It dries really fast. And yes, I can see that I already made some mess, and you can see that too. This is what I said, it's unavoidable. And this is why, actually, let me show you how to finish these parts, and then we're going to use the nail polish remover as a finishing part. So now we have really nice edges here. Looks perfect, isn't it? And we have to do something with this edge, right? Because we want it to look perfect, like here, for example. See, so pointy and nice. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trim the edge. So I'm gonna trim the edge a little bit. And I'm gonna use a little bit of glue on the very edge so that you can see, right? Just a little bit, not too much, really a little drop. And then I'm folding in and rolling both sides of the rolling edge of the piece inside towards each other. Okay. It's a little bit hard to do it in front of the camera because I can hardly see what I'm doing at the same time to see that you can see what I see. So do you see what I see? So it has to create something like that, really nice and pointy edge. And glue also will help to keep the edge in place so it doesn't unroll with time. Because believe me, if you don't secure the edges, they will unroll. Not immediately, but in a month, 2, 3, 4, half a year, they will unroll. So it's best you spend a little bit of time now to secure the ends to create a really perfect hat that will serve great time for many years ahead. Right, so rolling inside and there. Ta-da. And now rolling edge, and I'm using these, what are they called? I forget. Well, you have them at home. So just a little bit, not too much, and you just remove the glue and removes perfectly well. Just don't overdo it. Don't use a lot of nail polish remover. Just a little bit, but it's quite enough in order to remove the glue from your rolling edge piece. It's very convenient and it looks perfect. It's like you never used the glue before. Yeah, so glue can be very useful in hat making, just as long as you use it neatly and you know how to remove it. I mean, why not, right? Yeah. So here we are. And hi, what are you making? So I'm making decorations for a hat for my client using rolling edge technique. And this is what I'm demonstrating, how to make rolling edge decorations. The last thing that you need to know is color matching single thread with a knot at the end. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna secure the edges, the ends, these ends with stitching. I mean, yes, I know we use the glue and it's all wonderful, but I would still use a little bit of stitching and sewing because, you know, glue as a chemical, it will eventually, with many, many years, it will come off. It's not a secret, but sewing and stitches will keep all your work securely attached. So I would just create a very invisible and just a few stitches right on the edge of your piece here. And only single thread because we don't want to make a lot of mess. We want the stitch to be as invisible as possible. Then we're gonna just secure security knot and with small scissors only because it's best for the thread. I'm gonna cut it. And then you do the same with the other side. This is it. Okay. Hi, was scrolling and came across you in I'm Hooked. I could watch this for ages. This color is beautiful too. Thank you so much and thank you for your comment and I'm glad you enjoyed the tutorial. I'm basically finished for today, but really lovely to hear and thank you, Jamie. And just a few words. If you have any questions, please let me know while we are still here on this live session. I'm happy to reply any questions that you might have. And in the meantime, this is basically the technique. You can use it for any Sinamay straw or peanut box straw or fabric, woven fabric. Some of the woven fabrics, it might work, usually natural fiber fabrics. It looks very beautiful. You can also steam it with a steamer, creating really lovely shapes. This is what I'm going to do the next step, steaming and creating shapes for decorating the hat. And would have to create quite a few of these, and they're going to be nicely placed on the hat. Some of the rolling edges will be dyed in gold to create a feature piece for the hat, because I don't want it to be only purple, even though I do love the color, but I don't want to be just purple. There always must be some addition of a color so you don't make the whole piece completely flat, because one color means that if you look at the hat from the distance, it will look a little bit flat. So you want to add some colors. And yes, and it's going to be shipped to France, to Paris, for Mother of the Bride. And if you would like to learn how to make these hats, pillbox hats, how to block them, I have a tutorial on my YouTube membership. And if you sign up choosing Millinery Member Plus, you have access to all video tutorials, including this one, where I show how to correctly stretch and a Sinamay straw and peanut pork in order to create perfectly blocked pillbox hats. It works for any other hats basically, but it gives you there's a lot of information, a lot of tips, a lot of step-by-step tutorials on how to create these particular shapes. And just a few comments. Anna, thank you very much, inspiring. Can you please show us later the result? I will. You can also follow me on Instagram, Elena Shvab Millinery, where I also upload all the designs and all the hats and work in progress. And of course, I'm gonna make a little video of this hat. I'm gonna show it here on YouTube on my shorts. So I hope you like it. But maybe next week when this one is finished. What hat is going to be stunning. What a talent. Thank you, Jamie. This is so lovely to hear. I hope the Mother of the Bride will love the hat. I'll definitely make sure that it's done perfectly well. How do you apply the prices on the hat? Well, this is a completely different tutorial, not for this video. It's a very long and one of the complicated subjects on how to price your hats, including the materials that you use, the time that you spend, your experience in millinery, and so on. It's one of the complicated subjects that maybe we will talk some other time. I'm so glad I came across you. Just got a new follower, so sure. Well, thank you so much, Jamie. It's really lovely to hear. Welcome to the channel, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed. There's going to be a lot of other tutorials and other hats that I will be working on. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of tips. And do join my millinery membership here on YouTube, which gives you access to all amazing tutorials, very detailed tutorials where you learn a lot of things on how to make professional hats. Thank you so much, and I will hopefully see you all soon. And those who are new, please subscribe to support my channel, and have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you are. I hope to see you soon. Bye, and happy hat making.